Emily Murphy to get us underway in this one. Of course, on the score sheet last time out is Newcastle United scraped a 2-1 win away at Nottingham Forest at the City Ground. Here we go in the WSL 2. As Newcastle United look to get on the front foot early on in this one. Ball just kept in play there by Beth Lumsden, however it gives a possession away, and maybe an ambitious effort. It's well read by Claudia Moan in the goal just to palm that ball away. Had to be alert in the early stages of this one, and she most certainly was. Now Mannion in the possession for Newcastle. Just takes her time on the ball before squaring it across to her captain, Diana Cooper. Back three for Newcastle United this afternoon of Mannion, Cooper and Wardlaw. The same defence as last week, as Mannion, the former Manchester City and Manchester United defender, looks to advance up the right. Blades throwing. O'Rourke has the ball in hand. With a tussle for possession as Newcastle look to switch the play to the opposite side. Gregory looking for a bit of trickery to get past Cowan in the shape of Sheffield United. The ball is drilled in, takes deflection, just creeps the wrong side of the corner flag from a Newcastle United perspective, so it will be a throw into the Magpies in this one. Leanne Cowan joined Sheffield United from Millwall. Also spent time at the London City Lionesses. She was ever present for the Blades last season. Started both games this campaign as well. Newcastle look to launch an attack through the throw-inners. Once more, the home fans try and make their voices heard early in this one. They have the possession. Interesting listening to Luke Turner ahead of the game. He spoke about how he wouldn't be shaking things up, wouldn't be doing anything different, will stick to the principles. Look to keep his side disciplined in defence and hard to break down. Maybe hopeful there of springing a counter-attack forward. Emily Murphy just doing enough to win a free kick for her side right on the halfway line. And all of the possession in the opening 2.5 minutes or so has gone the way of Newcastle United. Mannion with it. Back towards Cooper. Finds Wardlaw. The intricate pass down the left-hand side doesn't come off, but again, Sheffield United just struggle to retain the possession. Here comes Mannion once more, lively in the early stages, but that pass goes astray. Now Newcastle could be caught out at the back here. What can Sheffield United spring on the counter-attack? Andrews with it, gets towards the penalty area. Could be an opportunity to put this one into the box, try to square it across, while Kisnett was the intended target. Molly Roos throws her arms up in frustration there as Newcastle managed to scramble the ball clear. But signs of encouragement early on in this one for Sheffield United. O'Rourke flicks it over the head of Lumsden. Manages to keep hold of the possession as well, the Sheffield United left back. The Blades doing their best just to keep their eye on the ball. However, Newcastle do well to rekindle possession via a throw-in. Mannion quick to take it. Wardlaw plays it 10 yards or so forward, but once again the press from Sheffield United is good. Wardlaw has the ball back at her feet, the Chelsea Academy graduate. There's a bit of time to work with it as well. And it's a lovely crossfield ball to find Mannion. On the move again. Has support, finds it in the shape of Lumsden. Bit of trickery on the edge of the penalty area. Crossfield ball, good moments for Newcastle into the penalty area. Flicked clear. Newcastle still have a chance to maybe create an opening on goal. Gregory. Forced back towards halfway. Sheffield United do well to regroup. Another through ball, this time looking for the target of Shawnee Hales, trying to make something work down the left-hand side. However, good defending from Jess Revel. Just sees a ball cannon off the Newcastle United attacker and out for a goal kick. Blades go short before eventually he's drilled up towards halfway. Finds a purple shirt as well as they look to launch an attack of their own. Flick round the corner there from Ruse wasn't the best. Only finds a black and white shirt, and once again Newcastle United managed to rekindle the possession through Manium. Gallops up towards halfway before cutting back. You can see that front three of Sheffield United once more, just trying to keep the pressure on the Newcastle defence, but Manium once more with a few yards of space to work with. Tries to get the ball in, takes a deflection off of Kisnet out for a throw-in. The majority of the early pressure on this one going towards the Sheffield United goal. Just the one counter-attack from the Blade so far. Cooper. Cross to Wardlaw, forced back towards Moaning. The blue, the Newcastle United goalkeeper. Yeah, just maybe takes a little bit of time to reset before trying to launch anything going forward. Not too many options on for her, so looks to play it just towards the captain, Cooper. Lovely weighted ball. Mannion keeps it in play. Or so she thought. The assistant referee, eagle-eyed there, spotted the ball, just crept over the touchline, so throwing goes away of Sheffield United. And there's been no real pace, no real tone to this one so far. It's been scrappy at best. Both sides doing well just to restrict their opponents to few chances in front of goal. And where Newcastle have dominated the possession, we're yet to see any real chances to trouble Charlotte Parker-Smith. Could be one coming in here. Gregory has it. Step over from her, floated ball. Headed clear once more. Edge of the penalty area. Now can Sheffield United launch a counter-attack? They look to do so, however this time no outlet. Does feel as though this is the way this game may go. Newcastle dominating the possession, and the Blades' best opportunities come in as they look to spring that trap from the back. Real tough of the possession. Sees it end up at the feet of Mannion once more. Advanced position for the right centre-back of Newcastle United. You can just see every time she launches forward, that's the obvious route for Sheffield United to go down through Andrews. However, her run that time couldn't be found. Diagonal ball, headed clear once more by Revel. Revel ends up with the position at her feet. We will have a breaking play here. Blades play down. May require a little bit of treatment. Looks as though Charlotte Devlin will be okay to continue without the physios having to come onto the pitch, and well, the referee, Amy Kerr, is a judge there to be in a bit of foul play in there as well. So a free kick goes away off the Blades. Decent spell in possession here with Tammy George at the ball for Sheffield United. Franz Kisnet. Again, the ball almost pinballs off of 2 or 3 black and white shirts before ending up in the path of Emily Murphy. She looks to make her way forward down the left. However, Sheffield United once more do well to regroup, force Newcastle back towards Cooper in her own half of the field. Cooper once more. Lois Joel on for Newcastle United this afternoon. She missed out last time out on a place in the starting 11. Came on as a substitute. She's looking to make things happen in the middle here for the Magpies as the ball is scooped out by Revel, making sure that she doesn't concede the corner. Throwing goes away of Newcastle once more. Sheffield United Academy graduate Jess Revel. She had a brief spell at Leicester City before returning to the Steel City. As the Blades managed to rekindle the possession once more. They've got a bit of work to do to get out of danger here though. However, Devlin does well just to initiate the contact, goes to ground. The referee doesn't really have much choice there. Devlin back to Parker Smith. Back out towards Revel. Returning to the club at the start of this season. Her long ball looking for the unrunning Amy Andrews. Couldn't get on the end of it. It may break for the Blade striker once more. Couldn't find the through ball out towards Devlin, who made the run into the penalty area. Newcastle did well to apply the pressure on the edge of their own penalty area. The clearance bounces over the touchline, almost catches the interim Sheffield United boss Luke Turner square in the face there as he had to take evasive action. Cowan has the ball in hand. Lafayette goes long, maybe a bit too long as Andrews gives chase once more. Can't get on the end of that, creeps out for a goal kick to the home side. Amy Andrews, the summer signing from Newcastle United, so out to prove a point against her former club this afternoon. Scored 8 goals in the 2023-24 season, however, found herself out of favour last year. Now playing her trade in the Steel City. Looking to make something happen for Sheffield United this afternoon. Newcastle look to break forward. Flicked ball over the top. Just couldn't find the on-running Molly Pike. Also on the score sheet last time out in that win against Nottingham Forest. And if she got that touch right, she would have been through one-on-one with the goalkeeper. However, it's Sheffield United who come away with it. Lafayette once more. Bit of an awkward ball that, and towards Taylor, who did well to clear it over the halfway line despite some pressure from the Newcastle United attack. Now it's the Magpies who just look to settle things down once more. Listening to their head coach Becky Langley before the game, she didn't shy away from their ambition to make a move up towards the WSL. The Magpies have moved to the Gateshead International Stadium purely because it has a grass pitch as opposed to their former home at Kingston Park, which was made of 3G. That wouldn't have qualified for a place in the WSL. So forward thinking from the ambitious club, Newcastle United. Short goal kick once more. Taylor advances outside the penalty area before looking to go long. Over the press once more from Emily Murphy is a good one, and it just restricts Sheffield United into their own half of the pitch. We played 14 minutes here. We're still to see a shot and goal in this one. Neither goalkeeper called into action as of yet, where Newcastle United have dominated the possession. It may be that Sheffield United are the side who created the better openings on the counter-attack. If they got the final ball right into Andrews, she could have had a shot on goal. Nevertheless, here come Newcastle once more. Kelly. Out to Lumsden. Step over from her, bit of trickery. There's the shot. Doesn't get the angle right. Drags it wide of Charlotte Parker-Smith's right-hand post, but the first effort on goal in this one is Lumsden, who cut in from the right-hand side. Had a bit of space to work with as well, however, when the opening presented itself, she just doesn't get a foot round the ball, gets underneath it, and it's never troubling Parker-Smith. But reasons to be encouraged for Newcastle United. Lafayette. Pressure from Hales. Lafayette does well. They'll can't keep it in play. Throw it to the Geordies. Ipamanian, summer signing from Manchester United. Again, just a showing of ambition from the Magpies to bring the player of her quality to the club. She finished runner-up 4 times in the WSL with City and Manchester United. Never managed to get her hands on that title. Takes a throw in again. Now Hales across the penalty area. A scuffle for possession inside the box. It's a scuffle that Sheffield United win this time. They look to advance forward, however, again, the angle of the ball just not right for Amy Andrews. Runs all the way through to Cooper. Gregory again. Pressure from 2, so forced to go back towards her defence. Now Cooper. A bit of space to work with. Mannion. Lovely through ball into the penalty area. Newcastle goal. That should be a corner kick. The referee, Amy Kerr, signals for one. Nice bit of play up the right-hand side this time to set Molly Pike free. Was well read from the defence. Lafayette there just with the challenge to ensure that it never gets anywhere near the goal, but some more defending to do here for Sheffield United. Conceded from the corner last time out as this in-swinger is floated into the penalty area. Keeper comes, confusion at the back, and somehow just creeps the wrong side of the post from the Newcastle United point of view. That's the closest either side have come in this one. Remains 0-0, but the Geordies are pressing. Relief for Charlotte Parker-Smith, who didn't look too decisive under this cross into the penalty area. Came, didn't get it anywhere near it. Much to the relief of the Scottish goalkeeper. Joined the club from Hearts at the start of this month. Was a big part of that side in the Scottish Premiership. Decided to make the move across the border to test herself in England. Never capped by the Scottish national side, but her attack come forward up the right with Andrews once more. She has support. Ball into the box, and now this time Sheffield United will be able to ask the questions from a corner kick. Freya Gregory, who's been lively going forward, just showing her defensive prowess there in ensuring that her goalkeeper, Claudia Moore, was never called into action. She may be still yet, as Abby Lafayette comes across towards the far side of the pitch to whip this corner kick in. So it will be in swinging from the left-sided defender. Second season with Sheffield United. What can she conjure up here? Again, tight, hanging on top of the keeper. Can't get there. Real mess in the 6-yard box, but much to Newcastle's relief, doesn't fall to a purple shirt. Now can the Geordies find anything on the counter-attack? Up the right they go. The ball just had too much on it, asking far too much of Molly Pike there. Couldn't get on the end of it. Sheffield United did well there just to regain their shape. Make sure that there was never really an opening for the Newcastle attack. That's the first time they've really left themselves vulnerable as well. Newcastle win back the possession. Cooper once more. She seems to be the focal point in that back three. Every time Newcastle wants to start something going forward, it often starts at the feet of Deanna Cooper, who just navigates the attack, and this time it sends Mannion on her way up the right-hand side. Mannion once more. Back to Cooper. Sheffield United win it back, have to be careful. Parker Smith comes, first time, just clears it over halfway as Hales applied the press. Tussle for possession between Andrews and Mannion on halfway. Andrews wasn't too happy there, just vents her frustration at the referee, Amy Keir. Keir wanted nothing to do with it, and thus Newcastle back in possession once more. Diagonal ball at the left, asking too much of Freya Gregory, who's been lively in the early stages of this one. Very quick to show her trickery on that left flank. The January signing from Aston Villa. Scottish international, but did represent England at youth level. Now playing her trade in the North East and started both games in the WSL2 so far this season. Looks to flick the ball forward on the left edge again. Ends up back at the feet of Revel. Here come the Blades. Space to work with up the left-hand side. There's Sophia O'Rourke dragged to ground there. The referee didn't hesitate in giving the free kick. In a menacing position here for Sheffield United to get this ball into the penalty area once again. The last one from a corner kick caused a little bit of confusion, but O'Rourke there just had a couple of yards of space to work within. Beth Lumsden, rather clumsy, bundles into the back of her, gives away the free kick. And now a chance for the Steel City side to create an opening. Looks to be Devlin standing over it. Lafayette also offering the left-footed option. The vanishing spray out on the surface here in Gateshead as Devlin just looks to make every centimetre count. Looks to be a right-footed in-swinger, drilled in towards the far side. It's met by the head of the Newcastle United defence. It goes behind for a corner kick. It was a menacing ball across. You just felt as if Revel could get on the end of it. She would have flicked it back across goal, and there was a queue of purple shirts looking to pounce. However, Cooper, the captain, doing just enough, but forced to concede the corner kick. Wicked ball in, just look at the spin on it, well read by Cooper. Lafayette offered the option of a left-footed from the free kick. They opted not to take that option that time, however, here she is looking to whip this one in from the corner kick. Both arms raised as she gives the signal, floated again towards the near post, headed clear once more by Newcastle United. Still a chance here for the Blades until the offside flag goes up. The ball down the line, looking for Devlin, who just didn't time her run right. That was a decent spell in possession there for Sheffield United, however, nothing to show for it. Newcastle live to tell the tale. Cooper once again. Wardlaw that time quick to get proceedings back underway from the free kick. Mannion has it. You get a sense that Sheffield United are growing in confidence in this one. Of course, beaten by 4-0 last time out, but no signs of defensive frailty so far in this one. However, Newcastle look to exploit the attack down this left-hand side. Pike gives chase, looks to clip it back into the penalty area. He does so as well. I'm not too sure many of her teammates were expecting her to get on the end of that. Parker Smith on her toes to come out, collect the possession. And gets Sheffield United started from the back. Rolls it out despite the Newcastle United press being very high up here. Is the Magpies who win back the possession. Murphy lays it off. Gregory with the crossfield ball, however. No one quite on the same wavelength there. runs out for a throw-in just by the corner flag, so you can see Newcastle just squeeze up as they look to restrict Sheffield United into their own half of the field here. Lafayette with the ball in hand. Long throw up the touchline, however it is won by Lois Joe. Newcastle rekindle possession high inside the Sheffield United half of the pitch, however the ball into the penalty area. Once again well read by Lafayette, however this time the throw-in goes in favour of the Magpies. Mannion takes it, bit of trickery there from Lumsden to take the ball towards the corner flag at the second attempt. Just can't get past O'Rourke on this near side. However, the Blades really struggling to clear the possession as it ends up back at the feet of Cooper. Kelly. Out to Lumsden once more, looks for the give and go. Newcastle opt not to take that option as Mannion floats it into the penalty area. Lands on the edge of the 6-yard box once more, but again, the Blades come up with their defensive answers. O'Rourke. Back to Lafayette. Across to Taylor. Through ball up the right hand side, once more looking for the on-rushing Molly Roos. Asking far too much of the debutant. Newcastle clear it upfield. It's going to be left to run out of play by Jess Revel. Maybe just looking to take a bit of sting out the tempo of this one over the last few moments. Newcastle started to build again. Mannion. Not the best pass, looking for Charlotte Wardlaw. Wasn't in the same wavelength there as Cooper. Spun it across to her, so the ball trickles out for a throw-in right in front of the dugouts where head coach Becky Langley and Luke Turner watch on. Lost for options there, so forced to go back towards Mo. Short ball to Cooper. Bit of space to move into. Press eventually applied. Mannion once again. Joel comes deep. Newcastle looks to advance down the right, but once more Sheffield United spring the press and win the possession back. Here they go up the centre of the field with Roos. Finds Andrews into the box. Offside flag goes up. Well, again, the Blades looking menacing on the counter-attack, however couldn't fashion an effort on goal. Andrews just needed to time her run a little bit better there. She looked to get into the penalty area. Still yet to see a shot on goal from Sheffield United. How much Amy Andrews would love to maybe prove a point to her former side. Lafayette. Taylor. Pass back to Parker Smith. Long ball forward again. Maybe causing a few problems. Cooper opts not to go back towards the goalkeeper, however the ball's kept in play on the far side. Assistant referee having a close look at it. Pike uses her footwork there to just about win the throw-in for her side. Looks to be a bit of confusion between Amy Kia and her assistant referee Zayed Ahmed. However, they eventually come to the decision to award the throw-in to Newcastle United, which Wardlaw will take. Half an hour played, still goalless at the Gateshead International Stadium. Neither side ruining any clear-cut opportunities so far in this one. We've only seen 2 shots on goal, both going in favour of Newcastle United. However, neither forcing a save out of Parker Smith. This may change as the ball's floated into the penalty area. It's a menacing one. Parker Smith got caught right underneath it. Looked a little bit lost as she came out there. However, much to her relief, the ball lands at the right side of the upright, out for a goal kick to Sheffield United. But once more, we're seeing how menacing Gregory can be on that left-hand side. Just found a yard of space to work with. Ball flashed into the box. Murphy was lurking, couldn't get on the end of it. Parker Smith under pressure from Murphy, goes short. Taylor once more. Newcastle press. Blades win the throw-in. Cooper. Cross to Mannion. Lumsden, who's found herself on a number of occasions out on the right-hand side in this one. Her and Lois Joe looking to interchange from that central midfield to the right-back position. Maybe more of a right wing-back this afternoon for the Magpies. Cooper again. Back towards Moan. We've seen only 17% of the play happen inside Newcastle United's own final third. Around 33% at the other end of the pitch, where Newcastle look to attack once more. Wardlaw does well there to win the free kick. Newcastle take it quickly. However, it seemed as though there was nowhere to go. However, they managed to find Gregory in a yard of space. Once again, looks to float across in, flashed across goal. Just misjudges it, goes out for a goal kick. Again, that seems like Newcastle United's most poignant point of their attack. Through Freya Gregory on that left. Just puts the arm of apology up there as the ball into the penalty area wasn't the best. Newcastle win it back. Not the best flick over the top from Hales. Lands at the feet of Devlin, who's got 3 black and white shirts around her. Does well just to play away out of trouble there, but Sheffield United need to be careful. Ball scooped towards the edge of their own 18-yard box, where O'Rourke manages to rekindle the possession. Seems a little bit frantic at this moment in time from Sheffield United. So that's a good ball up towards Kisnet. Devlin dances past one, brought to ground. Free kick goes away of the Blades. Lovely dancing feet from Devlin there. First touch set her on the front foot. The on-rushing challenge from Wardlaw came in. Devlin with a bit of a glare at the referee, Amy Keir, there, as she felt the attack was stopped, halted in its tracks. Sheffield United with a chance to get this ball forward once again. Free kick taken short. Revel in the possession. This time goes long into the penalty area. Header comes in. It's not going to trouble the goalkeeper. Appeals for a corner kick from the Sheffield United attack, and the referee, Amy Keir, agrees. There's a menacing ball up towards Tammy George on the edge of the penalty area. She made a real handful of herself. Rivet once more with only one thing on her mind. And yeah, just got the deflection off of Cooper back there defending for Newcastle United. Concedes a corner. And another chance here for Sheffield United to create something on the Newcastle goal. Not too sure the ball is quite overhanging the quadrant there. Not too many complaints from the Newcastle United players as it's swung in high again. It hangs as it's lands in the 18-yard box. It was really difficult for Jess Revel. They managed to get her head on underneath it, however, not enough power in the ball in, you felt, for her to be able to generate enough on it to trouble the goalkeeper. Couldn't get the angle quite right. So goal kick to Newcastle United. The first couple of shots of the game there for Sheffield United, neither troubling Claudia Moan. However, reasons to be encouraged for the side who were beaten 4-0 last time out. This time Newcastle have the throwers. Becky Langley looks on. She described her new home at Gateshead International Stadium as welcoming, being welcomed by the owners of the ground and the people of Gateshead. Is of course home to the Gateshead men's side who play their trade in the National League. It's also played host to top flight rugby in the Super League, as Gateshead Thunder once called this place home. And now it's Newcastle United's women who call it home. They look to spring a counter on the edge of the area, couldn't manage to find anyone running in behind. Now here come Sheffield United once more with Andrews. Just holds the play up, finds O'Rourke. Newcastle regroup. Blades are forced back into their own half of the pitch, however. May just enjoy a spell of possession here as they move the ball towards Revel. Cowan. In fact, it was Devlin in possession there, who felt she had her shirt tugged, almost stopped and waved her arms at the referee Kerr there. However, the referee didn't agree. Told Devlin to play on, play to the whistle. And now Newcastle United win the possession back. What can they conjure up here? Not the best ball, looking for Joel. However, Wardlaw wins the possession back. Lumsden finds Mannion. Kelly out wide to Gregory. Good first touch from Gregory. Second isn't the best as Cowan puts her foot in. Wins back the possession. Finds Devlin once more. O'Rourke. Lafayette. One to beat. Looks to do so as well. Can she find the ball into the middle? Yes, she can. Drilled across, flicked on. No one in a purple shirt managing to find a crucial touch. Revel once more. Bundled over on the edge of the area, but the referee says that Kelly got the ball, and here comes Kelly up towards halfway. Looks for Murphy, finds her. Once more, Sheffield United do well just to regroup behind the ball. Aoife Manning. Lumsden again. Tried her luck moments ago with an effort off the left boot on the edge of the area. This time tries to dance her way through the centre of the pitch, however the ball looking for Hales on the edge of the area. Didn't find its intended target. And now the Blades have it back at the feet of Revel. Taylor. Lafayette. Back to Taylor. Well, we've played 39 minutes here, and 0-0 was the scoreline last time out as Sheffield United faced Sunderland at Bramall Lane. It was after 40 minutes where Sunderland scored their first goal of the afternoon, and that's when the floodgates opened, finishing 4-0 on that occasion. So maybe the big test now for the interim head coach Luke Turner is to ensure that minds stay focused and Sheffield United manage to stay in this one and maybe nick a goal for themselves. Here they come on the right hand side. Not known as prolific goal scorers either, Sheffield United. They only scored 12 in the entirety of last year's competition. Conceded 37 in that period. But here they come, up towards Andrews, well read by Cooper once more. Now Joel has a possession for the Magpies. Wardlaw. Back to Cooper. Mannion. Ethan Mannion was lively in the early stage of this one, however, Sheffield United have managed to keep it quiet, but Lungton comes forward up the right. It's a menacing ball into the 6-yard area. Hales was lurking, the defence was good, and O'Rourke keeps the ball in play. Andrews. Now Cowan. Looks for Devlin. Going to get on the end of this. Lets it run out for a corner kick. The outstretched boot of Charlotte Wardlaw there, conceding the corner. Had to put the challenge in, otherwise Devlin would have had a bit of space to work with inside the penalty area. But good moments for Sheffield United as we approach the final 3.5 minutes of the first half. Newcastle United have had 56% of the possession. They've made over 100 passes more than Sheffield United. But it's the Blades with a chance here from the corner. Floated into the 6-yard box. Confusion. The ball bounces all the way through. Again, it felt as though it just needed a touch from a purple shirt, but here come Newcastle on the counter. Hales has it, waits for reinforcements, however won't get the chance to try and find them as it's scrambled clear by the Blades, and now it could be the away side who managed to launch a counter-attack. Roos has it, looks to twist away from a challenge, can't get past one. And now a breaking play for an injury to Lois Joel. That corner kick moments ago, just a real mess inside the 6-yard area. It's a menacing ball in from Lafayette. I think Wardlaw just about managed to get a flick on it that took it away from any Sheffield United attackers. Now Newcastle have the possession again. Long ball forward, could be a chance if they can keep it in play. However, Molly Pike just can't get onto the end of it, so it will run out for a goal kick, and this first half maybe starting to peter out. Chances have been few and far between for both of these sides. And while Sheffield United have only managed to put one shot on goal, probably should have done better with some of the possession and moments they've had on the counter-attack. They've done well to soak up any danger from the Magpies, but they just haven't been able to make it count on the counter up the end of the pitch yet. What can Newcastle conjure up before the break as they apply the pressure once more? Parker Smith goes long. Good touch from Devlin. Wins a free kick from her side as well. Sign of frustration there from Becky Langley on the touchline. She's been menacing Devlin in this one. It's the third free kick she's won for her side. Doesn't shy from a challenge. Gets stuck in. Now Lafayette. One ball forward, headed clear by Wardlaw. Second ball falls at the path of Sheffield United. Oh, it's gone all the way in. What a finish that was. Claudia Moan caught cold. And a goal out of nowhere there for the Blades. Devlin celebrates, left-footed effort, curled over the top of Moan. I'm not too sure she knew that was coming. And just like that, it's the away side who take the lead. Gateshead International Stadium falls silent. It's Newcastle United 0, Sheffield United 1. As soon as that ball fell at the feet of Charlie Devlin, only one thing was on her mind. Left-footed effort, looped over the top of Claudia Moan into the back of the net. And what a hammer blow that could be to Newcastle United on the brink of half-time. The first goal of the season for Sheffield United. A point to the sky from Charlie Devlin, the Arsenal Academy graduate. And what a time to get a goal. They say there's no bad time to score in football. However, the best time maybe on the brink of half-time. And that just changes the team talks for the Newcastle United head coach Becky Langley and the Sheffield United interim head coach Luke Turner. Can the Magpies hit back before the break? To give away the free kick. Sheffield United may just try run the clock down a little bit here from the free kick. It is Revel who's going to launch it long up towards the other end of the field. Waldor wins the header. Not too sure if Newcastle United manage to win the ball back, they'll have time to launch another attack. In fact, it's Sheffield United who get up the other end of the field. We've had the 1 minute of additional time, so we are now in to added on time of the added on time. The referee looks at her watch, puts a whistle to her lips and signals the end of the first half. And it was a half where chances came few and far between. Newcastle United dominated most of the possession. Beth Lumsden probably going closest for the host with a shot from the edge of the area. Just couldn't get the angle right. And then just on the brink of half-time, Charlie Devlin from all of 20 yards, edge of the area, caught Claudia Munn cold in the Newcastle United goal. Left-footed effort, looped over the top of her into the back of the net. A goal that the home faithful weren't expecting here on the brink of half-time. It's been a pretty even game, but that one moment of magic is the difference between the two sides as they head down the tunnel. Who would want to be a fly on the wall as Becky Langley makes her team talk? They're the side fancied for promotion this season, but they are behind at half-time. Sheffield United ready to get us back underway in this one. Ella Kisner has the ball on the centre spot. The Blades captain gets us back underway. Luke Turner's side look to go more direct at the start of the second half. The ball ends up just being shepherded out of play by Lafayette there for a throw-in. You feel as though this first 10 minutes of the second period could really set the tone early in this one. So it is Leah Cataldo on in place of Beth Lumsden. Jasmine McQuade has also made her way onto the field for the second 45 minutes. Emily Murphy, who scored last time out, will watch the rest of this one from the bench. Una Savenius is the third substitute on in place of Lois Joel, who made her first start of the season this afternoon. It lasted all of 45 minutes as Becky Langley looks to shake things up for the second period. Sheffield United in the possession. Long throw forward. Headed up but not away by Newcastle. Onto at the feet of the goal scorer, Devlin. Step over from her. Force backwards. Taylor. Lafayette again. Back to Taylor. Forced all the way back to Parker Smith in goal. Cool as you like, just puts her foot on the ball, rolls it out towards Revel. She's put under pressure as it's cleared up towards halfway. Free kick goes away of the visitors. Devlin once more bundled over. A real handful so far in this one. Kelly forward for Newcastle. No one on the end of it. We'll go all the way back towards Parker Smith. O'Keefe gets a ricochet. Throwing goes away with the Blades. Luke Turner watches on. He will undoubtedly be happy with what he's seen from his side so far. Thrown into interim charge earlier this week. He did actually take charge of the game last time out, forcing the club to release a statement to explain that Ash Thompson had been suspended. We don't have any reasoning behind the decision from the club. Luke Turner wouldn't be drawn into comment on how long he may be asked to take charge, but did say however long it takes, he will be there. And so far, he steps up into the role well, but his side have some defending to do. Here come Newcastle with Pike. Revel across, helping out at the left-hand side. Does well to win the possession and clear it away. Andrews rushes forwards. Gets there ahead of Cooper. The Newcastle captain to beat. Squares it across. Could be a chance here. Newcastle still short defensively. Devlin, love the cutback, looks to kill one, gets too much on it. Goes wide of the post on this occasion. Well, she's shown what she can do already in this game, Charlie Devlin. That left foot of hers is a difference between the two sides so far in this one. But on this occasion, just couldn't get the angle right. But again, you could see as soon as she ended up with the ball in her possession on the right-hand side of the penalty area, only one thing on her mind, got it back on that left of hers, curled it goalwards. However, this time Claudia Moan never seemed to be concerned. Newcastle have the possession back. Devlin once more. Just settles the play down before playing it back towards Lafayette. Ball drilled down the right-hand side. Asking Tammy George to chase. Cooper will get there first. Plays it back towards Moan, who's put under pressure by Andrews. Newcastle have to be careful here, which they duly are, as it's scooped up towards halfway. And the Magpies win the throw-in. Maybe a bit of concern here as Freya Gregory goes down in a bit of discomfort. She's probably been the more lively player for the Magpies in the 50 minutes we've had of this one. Didn't seem to go down under any real challenge there, so I'm sure Becky Langley will hope that she just maybe taking a precaution. Physio's on to give Gregory the treatment. 22 years of age. Signed from arch-rival Sunderland 2 years ago. Making a move from Wearside up to Tyneside. A controversial decision, however, Gregory did go down. And it seemed like under a bit of a nothing challenge, there was nobody round her, and she sort of just signals to the bench and asks the physios to come on. So maybe it could have been something that took place earlier on in the half. I'm not so sure. However, she is back on her feet. Received a bit of treatment from the medics on the touchline. She will have to spend 30 seconds off the field of play here, as per the FA's new protocols that have been in place for the last season or so. Newcastle have the possession, and maybe we'll just look to eat down the seconds before they can get Gregory back onto the field. Cooper goes for the diagonal. Lovely touch. Newcastle look to focus play down the right-hand side. Kelly goes to ground. Referee says nothing doing. Long ball forward again. Headed clear by Lafayette. Newcastle apply the press. Lafayette once more doing her defensive duties. Wins her side a throw-in. Helps back to her feet by O'Rourke. long throw down the touchline. Looks to relieve the pressure for the Blades. However, can't quite get out of their own field of play. Newcastle instead opt to go back towards their own goalkeeper in Mom. Now McQuade on as a substitute in the second half. Mannion. Not had it all her own way. It looks as though she may do so in the early stages. This time opts not to make one of those marauding runs forward. However, Wardlaw may have the chance to do so now. Put under a little bit of pressure from Roos. Wardlaw once again. Ball floated forward, flicked clear, collected by Gregory, back on. Seems to be moving pretty freely as Cooper rekindles a possession. She's going to be afforded a little bit of space to work with as she marches back up towards the halfway point. The second half continuing in a similar form of fashion as the first maybe, saw Newcastle United dominating the possession, however just not being able to find any inroads behind this stubborn Sheffield United defence. Quick throw-in taken down the line. Flicks forward. This could be a chance for Newcastle as they're going to be awarded a free kick around 10 yards or so outside the penalty area. The substitute, Una Savenius, making a handful of herself and did well just to ride off the challenge from Revel before finding the contact on the second attempt, winning the free kick, and now a chance for Newcastle to pull themselves level in this one. It is going to be Gregory standing over the free kick. Interesting to see whether she whips this one in or opts to go for goal herself. Taken off the left foot, drills it into the penalty area, doesn't beat the first player in the box, but Newcastle still have the possession. Pumps back forward, however, the offside flag goes up. It was Cooper who just didn't get back in time. No hesitation from the assistant referee, Zayed Ahmed. Flag goes up and just again relieves the pressure on Sheffield United. And maybe signs of frustration creeping into this Newcastle side as for all the possession, they still have nothing to show for it on the scoreboard. Taylor over the free kick. Sheffield United, despite their struggles in the league and on the opening day of the season, they are sticking to their principles of trying to play out from the back. They've adopted a similar system to Newcastle with the 3 central defenders with wing-backs either side of them. Also maybe opting for a front 2. However, couldn't keep hold of possession this time, and here come Newcastle United with Pike. Ball into the penalty area, headed clear, edge of the box, chance to get the shot away, couldn't manage to do so. It was deflected just in the nick of time from a Sheffield United point of view, and now the side from the Steel City look to make their way out of their own half. And it's smart play there from Molly Roos just to slow the possession down. This time Lafayette manages to keep it in play on the touchline, however concedes a throw-in in doing so, and now Newcastle in a bit of a rush to get on with things. Kelly down the touchline. High ball towards the edge of the area. And it ends up all the way back inside the Magpies' own penalty area. Cooper again. Mannion. Back to Cooper. Newcastle really just not playing at the tempo that you may expect of a side who are chasing a goal. That pass goes astray and offers the opportunity to Sheffield United to counter. Through ball looking for Andrews, couldn't get on the end of it. Newcastle win it back. It's turning into a bit of a scrappy one this. Mannion has it. Good ball down the right, looking for Pike, however, she just can't bend her run in the fashion she'd have liked. Offside flag goes up again. Lafayette down off the ball there, opting not to get the physios on. Doesn't look in too much discomfort as she goes and collects the ball and takes it from where the assistant referee is encouraging her to do so. Taken short. Emma Taylor, former Manchester United under-21s player, spent a bit of time at Blackburn Rovers as well. She was their player of the year last season before making the way to Sheffield United. She launched the ball forward, which sees the Blades have a throw in right in front of their dugout where the substitutes look on. Only 7 out of a possible 9 named by Luke Turner ahead of this one. On his side, a free kick just shy of the halfway line. Well, across the entirety of last season, Sheffield United averaged less than half a goal a game when playing away from home. So they're already boosting their numbers in terms of that statistic. However, if they were to get a second, well, I think it might sound shockwaves across the Steel City. They're not used to picking up points on the road. But so far, it's been a very professional performance from them. They've looked organised, they've looked structured, and they got the goal when it mattered most. And they've looked dangerous going forward on the counter-attack as well. So plenty of encouragement for the Blades. Here come Newcastle. Ball forward's not the best. Cool as you like, Lafayette. Just turns away from Cataldo before winning the throw-in for her side. Home fans making their voices heard in favour of Leah Cataldo, on as a substitute for the second half for Newcastle United. She was on the bench last week as well and made a brief appearance as a substitute. She's got experience in this division, captained Bristol City to win the title back in 2023, joined Newcastle last season. Now can the Magpies hit back? Ball into the middle, not the best one, creeps wide, half-hearted appeals for a corner there from Shania Hales. The referee and her assistant don't agree. Molly Pike just has a word there. However, never going to change the official's mind. And now Parker Smith just takes a little bit of time with ball in hand before getting us back underway from the goal kick. Once again, you see her just go short. Lofty ball forward. And if Devlin could have taken that one down, she was in a decent bit of space there to launch an attack. However, it just cannons off of the back and out for a throw-in. Just apologises to her teammate there as we are going to have another stoppage in play here. As the physios back on the field to treat Freya Gregory. She was down around 10 minutes ago as well, as she went down off the ball on that occasion. It was a lovely ball forward to get Sheffield United on the counter-attack. Devlin just couldn't get it under her control. Having a very good game this afternoon, Charlie Devlin. But a bit more concern here surrounding Freya Gregory. Started both games in the league so far this season. Looks as though she's holding the left ankle of hers. Physio's just taking a little bit of time to assess what the best course of action may be. In fact, it looks as though they're treating the abdomen area there of Freya Gregory. Sheffield United players just in a huddle by the halfway line. Newcastle United's made their way across to the dugout where Becky Langley issued a few instructions. A penny for her thoughts at the minute. This was a game that many came into expecting Newcastle to get at least a point, let alone 3, against a Sheffield United side who are in a bit of disarray off the pitch. However, that hasn't transpired so far this afternoon. Puts us up. Newcastle are going to be forced into making the substitution. Demi Stokes comes on with a wealth of experience to replace the injured Freya Gregory. Former Manchester City defender. Won the WSL title 9 years ago. Made 69 appearances for England in the process as well. Now at 33 years of age, plays in the black and white of Newcastle United, and she'll be looking to dive into that experience of hers to try get the Magpies back into this one. But it's Sheffield United in the possession. Devlin just lets the touch go astray. Tussles to win it back. Gives a free kick. In doing so, and again just waves the arms in frustration there. Real tussle for possession. She's not shy of a challenge, Charlie Devlin, as she looks to hook the right foot around Chantel Wardlaw there. However, there's no doubt that she had two arms around the Newcastle United defender in doing so. So the free kick goes away for the Magpies. Ball up the left-hand side. McQuade on the edge of the box, looks to flick it down the right channel, eventually collected by Cataldo. Floated ball in. It's going to be kept in play just by Charlotte Parker-Smith, who again just looks to slow the play down. Rolls the ball out to Lafayette. Another 50-50, which is won by Newcastle United. Just inside the Blades half of the pitch, as they look to rekindle the possession, recycle the possession around the back, and get another attack working up the left-hand side with Wardlaw. Ball down the centre of the field, looking for Savenius. She seemed to be bundled over. This time the referee not interested in giving a free kick. Newcastle nevertheless still have the possession, as once more Cooper carries it up towards halfway. Spots a little bit of a gap to work with as well. Ball drilled forward down the centre of the field, turning into a real tussle this one. And this time Devlin comes out on top, wins a possession back for the Blades. Lafayette has it. Andrews, lovely touch. Here comes Sheffield United. Could be a chance. Marching forward. This time Tammy George couldn't create anything on the edge of the penalty area. Newcastle come away with it. Now Sheffield United need to rekindle defensively, you feel. Ball down the centre of the pitch. Well read by Emma Taylor. Clears it up towards the Newcastle United defence, where Mannion has it in her possession. Throw-in goes away of Sheffield United there. The challenge came in. George looking like she's in a little bit of discomfort now. Did well just to apply the pressure there on Newcastle, who come up with the error. Cheaply give the possession away to the Blades. Sheffield United not in any real rush to take it. However, they could launch an attack of some sort here. Lafayette once more with the ball in hand. Long down the touchline. Newcastle win it back. Wardlaw. Stokes in support. Finds a veteran full-back as well. Plays it down the channel. No one in black and white on the end of it. Has to be careful. Ball back in field. Big tackle comes in. It's a good one as well from a Newcastle United point of view. The referee awards a free kick to the Magpies. It was Cooper who certainly didn't shy away from that one. Flying into it. Ball and all challenge. She was just caught a little bit late by Tammy George. The free kick goes away of the Magpies. Proper old school 50-50 ball in there. George there, just a little bit too late. Nothing malicious. But Newcastle will have the possession. 1-0 still the scoreline. We're getting to the point of the game where the clock may start to work against Newcastle United now. They need something sooner rather than later. The home fans here sat with their fingers crossed as Wardlaw looks to start an attack. Mannion Finds Cooper. Mannion once more. Challenge comes in, ends up in the path of George. Once more looks to get the Blades on a counter. Diagonal ball looking for Andrews, asking far too much of the former Magpies attacker. All the way through to Moan inside her own 18-yard box. Here come Newcastle once more. Both sides only managing one shot apiece so far in the second half. It's Newcastle who need it more. Chasing that scoreboard now, having been a goal behind with McQuade in possession. Finds Cataldo. Her pass isn't the best. Blades just about managed to come away with it for a moment or so. Won back by Wardlaw. Touch from her to take it down the channel. Andrews back helping out defensively. No nonsense, just puts it up over the halfway line. Kept in play by Stokes. Diagonal pass again, not the best from Emma Kelly. Looked to angle it out towards that far side of the pitch. Becky Langley watches on. Not overly impressed from what she's seen from her side so far in this one, you can imagine. Said she came into this one with an air of confidence, but a decent level of respect for her opponents, as the goal scorer, Charlie Devlin, will be replaced for the final 20 minutes of this one. Tilly Bristow came on as a substitute last week in that defeat to Sunderland. She'll be tasked in the final 20 minutes of trying to see this game out for Sheffield United. Tilly Bristow, it's her first season as a professional, graduated from the academy at Sheffield United, which is a path that the club have opted to exercise on a number of occasions. Their academy side won the PGA Cup last year, beating Chelsea in the academy. Bristow played the 90 minutes of that one. Now thrown into WSL 2 action. Wardlaw in possession. Towards the byline. Cross isn't the best. Far too easy for Parker Smith to come and collect, and you feel as though Newcastle are just lacking that little bit of guile going forward, lacking a spark, a bite, and they need to make something happen sooner rather than later if they're to get anything out of this one, as Taylor almost plays herself into trouble if it ends up giving the possession away. However, the ball in field from Stokes isn't the best one. Newcastle will win it back with Cataldo. Finds Mannion. Now Kelly, under some pressure, loses out as well. Sheffield United on the counter charge. Edge of the penalty area. Ball from Bristow put into the box. Can they get the shot away? Newcastle rekindle well, win the possession back. Well, you feel as though Sheffield United could have done a little bit better with that one, but now it's ended up in a counter charge from Newcastle via Pike. Gets past Kismet towards the edge of the area. Pike goes from distance. Deflected clear by Emma Taylor. Almost a tale of two counter-attacks there. Sheffield United working their way upfield. Probably should have put an effort on goal. Newcastle's effort deflected, but they're still on the charge. Ball into the penalty area. It lands on the penalty spot. The header from Stokes isn't the best one. Again, not asking enough questions of Parker Smith inside the Sheffield United sticks. Drops on the ball once again. And now we'll have another break for an injury inside the Blades penalty area. Just looks to be a little bit of cramp creeping in. O'Rourke down, needing the treatment. You just see Stokes underneath the ball there. Just couldn't angle it. Maybe a little bit too high for her. Newcastle hoping that they're not made to rue missed chances in this one. We're back underway via a drop ball. Parker Smith collects. Taylor again. Long ball forward. Cut out by Cataldo. Touch isn't the best. Blades counter-attack. Cowan just runs it into touch. Trickles out on this near side. Mannion. Well, 2/3 of Newcastle United's games across last season saw both teams scoring goals. They're going to need to continue that trend in this one if they're going to leave with anything. 16 minutes to play. The visitors a goal to the good. Wardlaw has it, under pressure from Bristow. Cooper. Back out to Wardlaw, returns it to her captain. Newcastle pressing forward here, diagonal ball. Decent touch from Pike on the first instance. In fact, it was Kelly involved there. Almost lost out on the second attempt, however, Newcastle rekindled the possession. Cataldo once more. Finds Mannion. Drive forward from the ex-Manchester United defender. Wardlaw again, bit of space to work with. Clips it into the penalty area. Headed clear, keeper came, lack of communication there. Bristow, cool as you like, just plays the ball down. Tries to play away out of danger, gets caught out by Stokes. Chance for Newcastle to get the ball into the middle once more. Stokes cuts back, lays it off towards Wardlaw. Gets to the byline. Bristow does well, wants a free kick there. Bit of a Cruyff turn by her own corner flag as she looks to get her side out of danger. Ball up towards the halfway line, well read by Cooper. Wardlaw into the box. Hales with a back to goal. Towards the edge of the area it goes. Kelly put under some pressure. Tussles for possession. George wanted the free kick there. She's down in a heap on the floor. The referee says nothing doing. Newcastle still have the possession. Becky Langley just issuing a few instructions from the dugout. It's her side advance up the right. Ball comes in once more. Floated ball, far post. Wardlaw was there. She's bundled into. The ball had gone. Just misjudged her run into the penalty area there. She was unmarked at the back post. However, couldn't get onto the end of it. And that may just sum up Newcastle United's afternoon in front of goal so far in this one. Created a decent few opportunities, but just haven't had that spark inside the penalty area. Cataldo, who's been lively since coming into the fray. Savenius making her presence known as well as she whips that ball in, and maybe the on-running defender just put Charlotte Wardlaw off there. Tammy George down, receiving a little bit of treatment, and it gives Luke Turner a chance just to give his side some instructions as they take on some fluids as they head into the final 13 minutes of this one. A valiant performance so far from his side. Looks as though they're ready and another substitution to come on in the background there. Alyssa Ahern strips and ready to come on for the Blades. Tammy George still down receiving some treatment, looks in a fair bit of discomfort. Looks to be a bit of a coming together there. The referee judged that it wasn't a foul, however. Tammy George certainly came out of the challenge worse off. Fair amount of concern for the Sheffield United midfielder who is going to be able to make her own way off the field of play. And that will bring an end to her afternoon. She's been lively in the middle. She's been fearless in the challenge. On many occasions, won the ball back and set up an attack for her side. And she's replaced by Alyssa Ahern. Signed in summer after spending last season on loan here at the club, a product of the Manchester United Academy, so she's no stranger to Sheffield United, opting to make that move permanent earlier this year. So we will get back underway via a throw-in to the home side. And as aforementioned, the clock is now starting to work against the side from the northeast. McQuade plays it in field. Forced back towards Cooper again. Opts to make a run forward, finds Stokes. Lafayette back. Cooper once more. Patience may be a virtue for Newcastle United as they build this attack up. Chance to get the ball in. Pike on the turn. Puts the foot in. Concedes a goal kick in doing so. Sheffield United proving stern opposition to break down this afternoon. Well, Sheffield United made that substitution, which saw Tammy George go off and Alicia Ahern come on. Sophie O'Rourke also made her way towards the dugout. She's been replaced by Jay Ralph for the remainder of this one, who say making her presence known at the top end of the pitch for Sheffield United. Mannion with some work to do. Plays it across her own 18-yard box. How's that for confidence? Bristow puts a challenge in. Looks to be dragged to ground by Cataldo as well. Is so. The referee, Amy Keir, blows for the free kick. Surprisingly enough, keeps her cards in her pocket there as Bristow picks the pocket of Cataldo. Was dragged down by the Newcastle United wing back. Be interesting to see what Sheffield United do here. 9 minutes of the 90 remaining. It looks as though they are committing numbers up from the back. And a second goal here would really kick the wind out of the sails of Newcastle United, who are doing everything they can to ensure they don't leave this game without any points. Chance for the Blades. Roos stood over the free kick, as is Lafayette. A queue of players inside the penalty area. In it comes. Menacing ball. It's a real mess. Can they get the shot away? Pinballs around. And eventually Newcastle clear their lines. Revo was in there. Sheffield United still asking questions. Ball put goalwards. Oh, it's hit the crossbar. Well, that was almost a freakish goal as Emma Taylor put the ball into the middle. Claudie Moan didn't really know what to do with it. It bounces off the bar. What a menacing ball that is. A real mess at the back. Newcastle only just managed to get it clear. Didn't manage to avert the danger though. And as Taylor looked to get it back into the mixer, gets across wrong. You just see the panic in the eyes there of Claudia Moan under the ball. Much to her relief, hits the crossbar. And the chance goes astray for Sheffield United. That would have more or less wrapped this one up. Cataldo in possession once more. Bristow puts her under pressure. This time Cataldo comes out of the challenge on top. However, Roos does well to win back the possession. First appearance of the season this afternoon, and she sets Sheffield United away again. Ball cut back into the box. No one in a purple shirt there. Well, it was smart play from Ralph, who managed to get on the end of the ball forward. Maybe had a little bit more time than she expected. Cut it back across the penalty area. Luckily for Newcastle United, Wardlaw was alert to the danger. two in purple lurking. Andrews the closest, just couldn't get there. But Newcastle United showing the vulnerabilities in defence as they maybe take a few risks and commit a few players further forward as they chase a late goal in this one. Free kick goes away the Magpies. Savenius making a handful of herself there as she marches back up to the top end of the pitch. Free kick taken back towards the defence of Newcastle though. Mannion in the possession. Goes short. Cataldo once more, cuts back. Sheffield United holding their defensive shape here as Mannion's forced to switch it across towards the left. Over some space for Cooper to work with. Decent ball forward as well. Here's Stokes. Looks to get the cross in. It's a decent one towards the far post. And there's the equaliser. And Newcastle have been pushing. And all the experience there from Demi Stokes to put the ball across the 18-yard box. It's McQuade with the final touch. And Newcastle United are back on level terms in this one. Just what the doctor ordered for the Magpies. What a ball across from Demi Stokes. In fact, it's Alicia Body, the substitute for Newcastle, who's got the final touch. Her first appearance of the season after missing last week through injury. What a moment for her to get the home sides back level. And now can they go on and find a winner? But here comes Sheffield United. This game sprung into life in the final 5 minutes. The Stokes swings it into the middle once more. Headed clear. Confirmation that goal was scored by Jasmine McQuade. So it is Newcastle 1, Sheffield United 1 as the visitors come forward again. Ball on the feet of Bristow. Back towards the halfway line. Parker Smith goes long. Nobody chasing in purple. The question is now, what does Sheffield United have left in the tank in this one? They've put a lot into this game. They held out for oh so long, but with 5 minutes to go, Newcastle pull themselves level. Tidy finish from McQuade. But here come the visitors again. Andrews looking to make a run towards the box. She's going to get on the end of this one as well as Cooper comes across to defend. Andrews up against Cooper, gets to the penalty area, can't get the ball into the middle. Can Newcastle counter? The touch from Pike isn't the best, and it's won back by Lafayette. Gets past Pike, towards the box, looks to twist and turn and find a way in there, but Cataldo stands up well. Newcastle have it back, and here come the Geordies forward. Big challenge comes in, wins the possession back for Sheffield United. However, Amy Keir judging it to have been a little bit too strong there. Turning into a feisty encounter in the final 5 minutes or so of this one. The Savenius charged forward. It was a 50-50 ball, but there's no doubt that Lafayette got there a bit late. What a moment for McQuade. 12 goals she scored last season, the academy graduate. Also spent some time at Middlesbrough earlier on in her career, only 22 years of age. Both appearances this afternoon and last week coming off the bench, but she's made her presence known, and maybe a message to her head coach Becky Langley that she wants first team football regularly. As Newcastle come forward again, ball into the middle, over the top of everyone. Cowan can clear. These two sides have only met 3 times before. Newcastle United have never lost against Sheffield United. They were 5 minutes away from doing so, and they could still do so. Big tackle comes in from Manning to get the ball clear. It's kept in play as well by Cataldo. Ralph challenges, gives the free kick away. Manning then bundles her to the ground. Manning showed the yellow card. Things are just boiling over a little bit here in the final stages. Bit of a halting play as there's another substitution to be made. Lauren Thomas, who started last time out for Sheffield United, introduced for the final 2 minutes of normal time here. She replaces the former Newcastle striker, Amy Andrews, who's been lively at the top end of the pitch. Hasn't had it all her own way, but she's been menacing with those runs in behind. Newcastle come forward. Everyone back defending for Sheffield United. Long ball towards the penalty area. What can the Magpies come up with? Headed clear by the Blades. Edge of the penalty area. It's a bit of a mess in there again. This time Taylor scrambles it clear for Luke Turner's side. Ralph Tussle for possession of Cataldo. Concedes a throw in doing so. Cataldo in a hurry to get this one back underway. All eyes on the fourth official as he gets ready to put his board up and announce the amount of stoppage time as it's hacked clear by the Blades once again. Up towards halfway. Now Wardlaw, put under pressure. Mannion. Now Cataldo. Out towards Savenius. Laverette to beat. Laverette momentarily comes out on top, but gives the possession away as well. Goal scorer McQuade in the possession for Newcastle. Kinzer gets to the ball first, plays it up towards halfway. 5 minutes of added on time here at the Gateshead International Stadium. Who can come out on top, if anyone? A goal now will be crucial, maybe come the end of the season. Only week 2 in the WSL 2. But as we saw last season, every minute matters. McQuade again towards the edge of the area. This time thumped clear by Sheffield United. Anywhere will do for the Blades at this point in the game. You imagine that Luke Turner will have taken a point ahead of this one. His side doing everything they can to ensure they protect that 1-1 scoreline. Edge of the area, chance for Newcastle. Twist and a turn. However, Pike can't get the shot on goal. One-way traffic at the minute. Cataldo tussles. Bristow fights back. Ralph wins back the possession. Looks to get it clear. McQuade challenges. Touches it off the fire there. Lovely bit of play from McQuade. Savenius turns. Can't get the shot on goal. It's a real mess. Sheffield United needed to be careful there not to foul the Newcastle winger. Pike once more into the penalty area. Taylor again comes up with the answers. Plays it downfield. Luke Turner and the Sheffield United bench urge their side to get out of their own half, push forward. However, here comes a long ball forward from Cooper again. Stokes flicks on. Collected by Wardlaw. Into the box. Hales has it, plays it back upfield. Maybe patience once more from Newcastle could come to fruition. That pass goes astray. Could be a chance here for Sheffield United to launch a rare attack in the dying stages. Through ball towards the penalty area. Mannion's there. It's always a goalkeeper. Ball goes astray. Bit of confusion there as Thomas was lurking. Newcastle just about managed to come away with it. That could have been calamity. However, the side in black and white come away with the possession through Mannion. She just drops the ball off towards body. Ball down the right, not the best. Lafayette clears. Moan has it. Carries it forward. No one challenging the Newcastle United goalkeeper. We've had 2.5 minutes of the 5 additional time. Love the flick there. Ball into the middle once more. Pike rekindles a possession. Floats it into the box. There's the header. Bobbling around. Shot comes in. Over the crossbar. Wardlaw got it all wrong. Under the ball. Couldn't divert goalwards. Let off for Sheffield United. Well, Pike's been a real handful in this game as well, and a lovely weighted ball into the middle there. The header from Hales looked to be going goalwards. It took a deflection on the way, fell into the path of Wardlaw, who scooped it over the crossbar. 90 seconds remain. You feel as though Charlotte Parker-Smith will just let the clock run down here. maybe one of the oldest tricks in the book, to swap the ball from one end of the 6-yard box to the other, eating up every second that's afforded to her. Eventually goes long up towards halfway. Bit of head tennis. Eventually touched down well by Wardlaw, however her clearance isn't the best. And the referee halts play as Ahern went down after the ball bounces off her face. The home fans not too happy with that. I'm not sure Sheffield United will be too happy with that, because it looked as though they were on their way forward there. The referee halting play. And now, because the physios were called onto the pitch, it appears Ahern may have to spend 30 seconds off of it. Drop ball given the way of Sheffield United, pumped up towards the edge of the area. Good play from Ralph to hold on to the possession. This isn't the area of the pitch that Newcastle want the possession in. Body does well to tuss up a possession, finds Cooper, who clears it forward. Is there time for one last attack for Newcastle United? Ball forward, just put into the stand there by Taylor, who did well to read it. We've had the 5 minutes of additional time, so we're into added on time of the added on time. One last attack here for Newcastle United. A goal now will surely win it, and they've got a free kick in a pretty dangerous position, and the referee, Amy Keir, will afford them the time to put this into the penalty area. Pike stands over it. A goal now would surely mean the 3 points for Newcastle. In it comes, menacing ball, headed clear. Sheffield United the first to it. Clear it up towards the halfway line. Here's the time for one last attack as Stokes marches forward, can't get it in. And here comes Sheffield United looking to put Ralph through. But just like that, the referee puts the whistle to her lips and signals the end of proceedings here. And a valiant effort from Sheffield United. They go back to South Yorkshire with a point in the bag, and it's a well-earned point as well, it has to be said. They took the lead on the brink of half-time. A shot from the edge of the area from Charlie Devlin, catching Claudia Moore now to give them the lead at the break. A goal maybe that Moore won't want to see back. However, Devlin showing her prowess from the edge of the area. And it must have felt like a long second half for Newcastle United, who huffed and puffed as they tried to get something out of the game. And 5 minutes from time, Jasmine McQuade with a neat finish from the edge of the area after a brilliant ball in from the veteran fullback Demi Stokes means that Newcastle rescue a point late on in their first ever game at the Gateshead International Stadium. Full time, it is Newcastle United 1, Sheffield United 1. Well, a close game, all in all. Maybe not the type of game that we expected here at the Gateshead International Stadium. Sheffield United came with a point to prove after losing 4-0 last week. Newcastle looked to make it 2 wins in a row. And the stats show it was pretty even all in all. Newcastle dominating the possession, but both sides created a decent amount of chances each. You can see there the key passes, 5 to Newcastle, 6 to Sheffield United, maybe showing that their attacking prowess paid off this afternoon to get them a point to take back to South Yorkshire. 9 shots to 6 in favour of Newcastle. However, they just weren't clinical enough this afternoon. That's why the points have been shared. A big day in the WSL 2, round 2 here. And what a result it has been elsewhere. In the early kick-off, Durham lost by 2-1 to Charlton Athletic. But look at that, Crystal Palace 4, Southampton 4. That game hasn't reached full time yet either, so a big final few minutes coming up there in south of London. Nottingham Forest returned to winning ways after losing last time out. They beat Ipswich Town by 1-0. Here at the Gateshead International Stadium, finished Newcastle 1, Sheffield United 1, and just a couple of miles away in Sunderland, it finished Sunderland 1, Birmingham City 1 in the late kick-off. Bristol City lead Portsmouth by 1-0 at half-time.
I don't want to walk around and take it. Knocks it.
Well, a very entertaining afternoon we've seen here in the north-east of England. It was a game which Newcastle came into as favourites, and took a while to get going. The first chance of the game saw Beth Lumsden just fire wide, couldn't get the angle quite right on that effort goalwards. And you thought that that may have been a sign of things to come. Newcastle continued to dominate the possession. However, didn't have anything to show from it. This effort, again, probably the closest that the Magpies went. And on the brink of half-time, maybe a bit of an ambitious ball forward. Newcastle couldn't get it clear. George headed it down. And just look at this from Devlin. As soon as she took that first touch, she knew where she was putting the ball, into the back of the net, over the head of Moan. I'm sure there will be a bit of an inquest as to how that ball went in. Could Moan have done better, or was she just caught short there in her goal? Either way, Devlin won't mind. First goal of the campaign for her to give the side the lead. Newcastle looked to hit back in the second half, and they put a few really menacing balls into the box. However, it just got that feeling that it wasn't going their way. Substitute full-back Demi Stokes looking to head goalwards. Couldn't angle it quite right. He did question whether Newcastle would finally find a finish. Sheffield United themselves with a few opportunities. A cross maybe comes shot from Emma Taylor, bouncing off the crossbar. You could just see the panic in the eyes of Claudia Moan there as the ball looped over her head. She didn't know where it was going. Much to her relief, bounces off the bar. A goal then would have surely sealed things for Sheffield United. However, late on, Newcastle with a brilliant, crisp attack into the penalty area. And what a lovely deft touch that was from Jasmine McQuade to put it into the bottom corner and seal a point for Newcastle United. Probably no less than they deserved either. A lot of effort went into the second half performance to get them the result. McQuade there with a neat finish on as a substitute, linking up with fellow substitute Demi Stokes, and Newcastle showing their prowess from the bench there. Those two really did change things. Newcastle huffed and puffed and almost found a winner late on as well. However, a stubborn Sheffield United defence did manage to keep them out. The ball into the penalty area. Pipe whipped it in, a bit of a deflection, fell into the path of Wardlaw, who just couldn't angle her effort goalwards. So it finished here at the Gateshead International Stadium. Newcastle United 1, Sheffield United 1. So that is that here at the Gateshead International Stadium. An entertaining match day 2 in the WSL, where Newcastle United rescued a point late on. Devlin with the goal for the visitors just before half-time. Newcastle left it late, but just about managed to rescue a point late on. Jasmine McQuade, the local hero for Newcastle United. Full-time, Newcastle 1, Sheffield United 1.